Welcome back to the Milwaukee Show, and today we're talking about the Edmonton Oilers, one of the teams that have finally made their way into clinching position for the Stanley Cup playoffs, as this team has had such an up and down roller coaster of a season. At the beginning of the season, things looked pretty grim, with McDavid going down with an injury, and then the team having, what was it, like a 10-15, it wasn't 15, but like whatever the absurd losing streak they went on, right? They just could not get anything going. This team looked like, after having a couple good solid years of being a top team in the league, of being a playoff contending team in the league, maybe not Stanley Cup worthy, maybe no one really believed in them win the cup, but a team that had like a good foundation, they just show it all down the drain, and everyone, including me, going like, yep, that this is the season where they take a step back a little bit, right? Like kind of like the Florida Panthers, where they win the President's Trophy and then they just get nailed out of the playoffs. This was going to be that kind of setback where they reach those heights and then they have to come back to earth a little bit. But then everything is turned right back around as this team goes on. What the hell was it? Like a 16-game winning streak? Like what? It was insane. They almost beat like half the team. Whatever it was absolutely insane that this team could pull off. And it's thanks to Connor McDavid coming back, McJesus putting on what is only one assist shy of his 100-assist season, Zach Hyman being a absolutely standout, not the best free agent signing ever, but being a standout with getting his 52 goals and counting this season so far. Evan Bouchard with 79 points on the season, being an absolutely stellar and elite offensive defenseman. This team has had a regular season success, right? That is what this season is. 99 points in the standings right now. They could technically take over first place still, and it wouldn't be that much of a surprise. They're only 5 points behind the Canucks. They would really need to pull together some really strong games and hope the Canucks really fall off a little bit to win it, but I would say they probably end up in a solid second place, like maybe 2 points, 3 points behind them. I think they do close the gap a little bit. But the Oilers, they look happy going into the playoffs, right? Things coming together. Stuart Skinner not looking that bad. The defensive Ekholm looking so good. And Bouchard and Nurse and Cody Ceci back there, right? This team's got a lot of good things going for them. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins having this okay season. Draisaitl 40 goals on the season, and also just being the elite player he is. They trade for Adam Henrique, and that's all fine and good, right? So let's just take a look. I know usually I go like through the pros and stuff and numbers of the team, so let's just talk about this team real quick. Going into the playoffs for the first round, they're going to end up playing either the LA Kings or the Vegas Golden Knights, right? It's going to be one of those two. And those are interesting matchups, right? Especially against the LA Kings. It would be so cool to see those two match up again. Or the Vegas Golden Knights, a team that eliminated them last season, and some ignorant people claim that was the Stanley Cup Finals there. That's absurd, but whatever, right? Those two teams, they have history with them. Those would be fun series to watch, right? Let's just say they could I would say they probably have a good matchup against the LA Kings. I don't know if LA could really withstand the offensive onslaught, and just I don't think the Kings could temper them that much this season, right? So I think they get past the Kings. The Golden Knights would be the issue, though, because I'm a very strong believer in the Golden Knights, right? But let's say, excuse me, the vengeance of the Oilers is able to empower them enough somehow to beat the Vegas Golden Knights in the first round. They move on and play against a team like Vancouver, right? They play Vancouver, or let's even say they play a team like let's say the Nashville Predators are a team they're somehow able to match up against, let's just say. Then I would say, you know what? Yeah, like the Predators, they have been very solid as of late, very hot going into the playoffs. But I think the offensive onslaught that they can throw at the Predators, and the Preds, I just don't think they would be able to hang with them. The Canucks would be an interesting back and forth because they both have very top-end talent. So it would be an interesting mix there. Let's just say they move on, right? And then we get to the Western Conference Finals. And then this is just where I was like, because usually my system is that I put first round, put some stickers on the board, and then I kind of write win or lose, this would be a good matchup, would be a draw, something like that, would go the distance, this team would probably edge them out. But I gotta be honest, there is really no need for a discussion about this Edmonton Oilers team. Last season, they get past the LA Kings in the first round, where the Kings are unable to handle it became a scoring matchup, right? And the Kings could not handle that, right? The Edmonton Oilers with McDavid, with Draisaitl, with Nugent Hopkins and Bouchard, they were able to hang off against the Kings and move on to the next round, where they get dumpstered, what the hell does that mean? They get thrown into the trash by the Golden Knights. And I just do not see this Edmonton Oilers team winning the playoffs this year. I don't think they go far. I don't think this is a successful run for them. I think what this is I think this is McDavid having another incredible season that is being helped by the fact that they finally have a guy like Zach Hyman to step up to the plate to finish off those scoring chances, and McDavid doesn't have to do it all himself. And with the likes of guys like Ryan Nugent Hopkins not being as good as he was last season, Adam Henrique being a solid addition, but really isn't just like a key to the puzzle to unlock this Stanley Cup. The defense just not really being even better than it was last season. Stuart Skinner, I'm still not a believer in him. Everything this team, to me, is still a solid regular season team, but is just missing the depth that a team needs and the defense and goaltending, right? Stars, of course, they have the stars. Draisaitl and McJesus alone, right? Add in a really good Ryan Nugent Hopkins or a solid Zach Hyman in front of the net. Like, they have the offensive upfront talent. But once you get down the lineup, sure, like guys like Corey Perry are nice down there. And Evander Kane, they do have some, good, solid, fighting guys, but when you talk about this Stanley Cup playoffs, maybe last year it's a different story, but this playoffs especially, let's think of, the Golden Knights, the defending Stanley Cup champions, they're going in this season, could play them in the first round. I am not liking that for the Edmonton Oilers, right? The Golden Knights are on a mission to win that back-to-back cup. With the momentum that a team like the Vegas Golden Knights get, and the playoff team that they are, with the likes of Hanifin and Tomas Hertl added to this team is more empowered, and the Oilers are less of a team than they were last season. They get bounced. The LA Kings, also a very strong candidate to knock out the Oilers. But somehow they knock them out, right? No. Nashville, if they can make it to the second round past whoever they play in the first round, if it is Vancouver or whatnot happens, or Vancouver gets to the second round, Vancouver is like the Toronto Maple Leafs and is like this team where they have top-end talent who can score goals, but then they've got the JT Millers, of the world that are going to fight like hell to score goals. Brock Besser's a new elite scorer. You have Quinn Hughes on the back end and Thatcher Demko of all people to sit in net, right? That team has everything better except McDavid on their side, right? So to me, the Oilers are once again a year that this is not going to happen. And I think that this team is going to break sooner than later when it comes to it. To me, the structure of this team is they're weighted down by way too many big contracts, right? Sure, Draisaitl's contract is amazing, right? But you add Draisaitl's contract, and then you add McDavid's together, and then you add the bad contract of Darnell Nurse. And I get it. Darnell Nurse gets too much hate. He isn't the worst defenseman of all time by any means, but he is not a $9.5 million defenseman. You know who is? Alex Pietrangelo. What has actually Alex Pietrangelo done? Won 2 Stanley Cups, being basically a captain. I know he isn't the captain of the Golden Knights, but he is an A on his chest and is the best defenseman on that team overall. He won the cup twice. Right? You take a look at a guy like Cale Makar, 8-point-something million or 9-point-something, relatively around the same range as Darnell Nurse. Nurse is being paid way too much money, and it is the type of contract that it could be summed up with 2 solid contracts, right? His contract takes up amount of space that you could get, because Bouchard's your guy, right? Bouchard is your number 1 defenseman back there. If you could divvy up that 9.5, let's just round it up to 10 million with another bad contract. Let's just say, right? You have $10 million to spend. Remove Nurse. You can get a guy on this team with a relatively small, a Zach Hyman type deal, right? But take a look at a guy like Keandre Miller, or not Keandre Miller, but God, okay, now I look like an idiot because I'm blinking on names. So you get what I'm saying. You get like a solid $4.5 million defenseman on the back end, maybe two of those guys instead, and you make a more solid, compact defensive lineup, right? Take a look at what the Florida Panthers did with Oliver Ekman-Larsson on a small deal, right? You get Kulikov back there as well on a small deal, right? They get Gustav Forsling on a very team-friendly contract, just signed that, right? What is the Oilers could be doing the same thing, right? They're in the same league. They could have done the same thing. And instead, they just wait every single season with Darnell Nurse just waiting down that defensive line, which cannot be helped because their goaltending also stinks as hell. And I know they've done some things to try to patch the holes, but they've never done enough. And this season is going to be another suffering year where they go in with the best player on earth, whether he's the MVP or not, which I'll make a video about that soon as well. McDavid is the best player on earth. Leon Draisaitl is also up there, and both of those guys are 1 year closer to walking off this team and going somewhere else. Because could you imagine with like the whole that let's say Draisaitl goes for $12 million, okay? Let's say he goes for $12 million on another team, you know? You take that contract, right, and you pair him on a team that is like trying to win a cup, you know? And you remove like a bad contract at a time, like Boston Bruins, you know. Let's just say the Bruins decide, like, you know what, we're changing things up, and we're gonna move out like Charlie McAvoy plus one other deal and make room to sign Leon Draisaitl, you know. Like that would be a huge team. That would be a huge move that would sink the team a little bit. But could you imagine him with that kind of lineup? What if a team like the St. Louis Blues, who could clear up a little bit more cap space, move out some guys, make a couple $1 million open, and you've got a team that can be killer with like Thomas on that team with a solid team-friendly deal? There's so many players that on this team that are just wasting away, and it is just not going to happen again. So the Oilers, I'm not going to entertain them. This team does not have what it takes. They didn't have what it takes last season. They didn't do anything enough this year to change any of that. Is going to be the same story where they can score goals, and they're not going to go out without a whimper. But they're going to fight, but it's not going to lead to anything good. So that's all I got to say. My prediction for them right now is it depends on who they play in the first round. I think the only team on the board they have a good chance against is the Kings, but other than that, they get knocked out by anyone else on this board. And that is all I got to say. So thank you for watching this. I know if you're an Oilers fan, you're probably not going to like this, or if you like the Oilers in somewhat, I know you're going to disagree with me. Oh well, that's just the truth. Get used to it. So thank you for watching this, and please, I'm begging you, pick up your free subscription. Please click the subscribe button, please. And until next time, too sweet, have an amazing day, and ta-ta for now.